Before I start this video, if you've not subscribed to my channel, I'd appreciate it if you could hit that subscribe button. And if you like the video, please click the like button, share this out through social media, and leave comments in the comments section. Today, I'm going to be discussing a recent interview that Hugh Johnston, the CFO of the Josh D'Amaro company, gave to investing.com. In particular, I'm going to be looking at this little excerpt here. And it starts out with the interviewer saying, obviously, a huge focus in the market at the company, your subscription video on demand, that is what SVOD is. Assets today north of a $20 billion business. We'll get into that in a minute. You're growing revenues double digits. Really? No. Last time you reported subscribers, you had a business approaching 200 million subscriptions. The reason why they're not reporting subscriptions anymore is because there was a lot of duplicity between Hulu and Disney minus. So when they were combined, the actual subscriptions are probably around 140 million. But he goes on to say that's real scale, which it's not. What's the growth opportunity from here? Not much. Like, how do you size up the opportunity? There isn't much of one. And how do you go about getting it? Why I'm being so sarcastic is because every time I look at the shares of streaming, the percentage stays about the same. It's about 5%. And that is combined between Hulu, Disney minus, and ESPN. It's not going anywhere, and they're not going to be increasing anytime soon. However, Hugh Johnston replies that, yeah, we do feel good about what we've built. If you take a big step back, the global television market is about 500 billion. I question that. And we only have about 20 billion of it. Well, that's just your SVOD. You still have linear television too. Now we feel great that we built this $20 billion business. Well, you shouldn't, and I'll tell you why in a minute. But it's still only 20 billion out of 500 billion. All right. So let's just go by the $20 billion. Disney's current market cap is around 181 billion. So 20 billion is about 11% of the company's market cap. And in comparison, the parks are estimated at about 67 billion, which is 37% of the market cap, or 3 times. The Josh D'Amaro company has invested a total of 141 billion into subscription video on demand, and it basically breaks down like this. Their initial investment in Disney minus was 1 billion. They also added another billion in marketing. Then they acquired Fox for 71 billion. And yes, they even specifically said they were acquiring Fox to boost Disney minus. Then they acquired the final shares of Hulu at approximately 8 billion. And the yearly operating cost since 2019 is 60 billion. It's basically 10 billion a year to operate Disney minus. Now, to show you how bad things are, the market cap in 2019 was 264 billion. And I already said that the current market cap is 181 billion. So the company has dumped 80% of the market cap into SVOD and has lost all of it and another 83 billion in market cap since the end of 2019. So in 6 years, they've basically lost, 280 or 223 billion dollars? Is that the math on that? 141 and 83. Yeah, $223 billion. That's staggering. And this doesn't It doesn't include the abandonment of linear television and the damage done to theatrical studios. Let's face it, Marvel, Star Wars, Disney proper, none of them are making any money. Hell, even the last Avatar bombed. Not that they get much money off of that, but everything's basically turning to shit. The combined profits for direct-to-consumer entertainment for 2025 was $1.5 billion, which is the highest profit margin ever for their direct-to-consumer streaming. Now think about that. 141 billion invested, 1.5 billion return. At that rate, DTC will be profitable in 100 years. And the only reason DTC was profitable this year was because they basically cut a ton of jobs and they cut new content. There was very little new content for 2025, at least not compared to years past. So that isn't basically a formula for sustained profitability because you can only cut so much. And if you're not making new content and you're not making content that people want, which is another problem, people are going to cancel their subscriptions. Now, basically how you value a company, at least one way that I like to do it, is you take the profit and you stretch it out over 7 years. So 1.5 billion over 7 years, if it made 1.5 billion for the next 7 years, would be 10.5 billion. That's half of the valuation we were given of 20 billion. And I think my number is much closer to the mark than 20 billion. I do not think that Disney minus and all that streaming is worth 20 billion. I really do not think so. Not right now. Not with only 140 million subscribers and losing more every day. So, in the end, instead of this monstrous money pit that they've created, you could have taken that 141 billion and, if you chose so, invested in the cruise lines and built a fleet of some 70 ships. Or you could have built 6 major theme parks at 25 billion each, actually 5 plus theme parks. And the 25 billion I get from, that's the estimated cost for Epic Universe. So you could have built between 5 and 6 Epic Universes for that 141 billion. At the same time, they could have been leasing out the vault to whoever wanted it for billions a year. They could have been making more money than the direct-to-consumer entertainment was profitable this year with no additional investment. All that would be free money because all that stuff's already been created and paid for. So my only real question is, I don't know what it's going to take for the shareholders in the market to realize that the company that Walt built is taking on water and there are not enough pumps left to keep it afloat. Because things are getting really bad really fast, and it would take massive corrections at this point. It would take basically Elon Musk doing what he did to Twitter. You'd have to clear everything out and basically start over from scratch. Just keep on the few people who actually do some good work. And then you'd have to fire everybody else, and you'd have to hire a whole bunch of new people. And who knows who even wants to work for the Josh D'Amaro company. It hasn't been Disney in a long time. And if you can see by my background, I'm quite the fan of the Walt Disney Company. I am not the fan of what it's become. And with that, I think I'm going to end this review. So, like my father told me when I was 18 years old, get out.